taking forever to. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. It is what is today? Today is Wednesday. Wednesday morning there, Wednesday night here. But everything is going as planned. We're doing the Council of Future Conflict episode 497. We're talking Liberation Day, you know, the old tariff thing, and China. Kind of, take off of the old Marsha, because, we're always complaining about China, aren't we?
Always.
I'm getting really tired of these nationwide injunctions on literally everything.
Well,
Peter Shea tells us for $2, he says the DC judges issued a nationwide injunction on tariffs. I have not seen any. I saw that before the intro started, and I've been looking for it, and I haven't seen it. But
I've heard somebody propose that Congress can literally just get rid of the entire DC District Court. Like, it's been done before multiple times.
But the problem is, it's not just the DC District Court. It's courts all over the country. No single district court judge has this level of authority. It's just that simple.
That's true.
Hunch gifted memberships over on Rumble.
See, I was going to comment on that, but Hunch, being an autistic, silly guy that he is, last night when I made a comment about The Last of the Mohicans and we were all talking about the cool scene, he began one of his tirades via Signal to me about James Fenimore Cooper being a socialist. Bro, just enjoy the entertainment. Yes, James Fenimore Cooper was a socialist or progressive. But that doesn't mean that the movie that was written hundreds of years after his death was not good.
Yes. Yeah, it was, yeah.
I'm with you on that. I do spurg out like that sometimes myself.
Some days, bro. Some days.
Oh, well-armed Corey for $10 says, at this point, executive branch is kind of redundant since the nation has just ruled through the courts. Yeah, right. Well, this is so. Well, hold on a second. Let me just say this. And I heard a really good piece from Senator Kennedy talking. I don't remember who he was talking to. This was in some hearings the other day. And he basically established the fact that there is no legal precedent in any kind of whether the Constitution or English common law or anything for these nationwide or even worldwide injunctions that they've been using against Trump, and that this should be unconstitutional. And his argument convinced me.
Well, what they need to do is stop using the Department of Justice to fight these and argue these in court, and just start ignoring them, right? Stop attending hearings. Just continue on with your day as if they didn't happen, and then see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And
it's pretty stupid. Joe, how you doing, brother?
I was doing well until late last night when I received the word about Val Kilmer. But
yeah, that was really tough.
But I'll tell you this: I know that I'm being successful at life because this weekend, while we were watching A Working Man, Jason Statham, after the movie, Allison pointed out a Russian grammatical error in the movie. And that tells me I'm on the right track, right? That she has learned Russian grammar to the point that she pointed out the error in the movie. So pretty good.
I forgot how much Russian. So I watched John Wick yesterday, just rewatching the original one. And I forgot how much Russian was in that. I mean, there's quite a bit.
Yes. And there is in The Working Man, because in a modern movie, the Russians must be the bad guys. Even when you make a movie about human trafficking, you can't point out who actually does the human trafficking in North America. You have to make them Russians.
Well, Joe, when historically oppressed peoples actually are, had do the majority of the bad stuff when it comes to human trafficking, you gotta find a proxy for them. And Russians and Chinese tend to be the best fallbacks for that. Peter Shade's Helicopter for $2 says it was quite the experience climbing Honor Hill to pass through the gates to the theme song for The Last of the Mohicans for the crossed rifles pinning.
It's actually a much older song than The Last of the Mohicans. It's an old Scottish military piece of music called the Gale. So, yes.
Yeah, it's just a great movie. Speaking of great movies, Watcher, how you doing?
I'm doing. Working through whatever health problems are going on. Not quite sure what it is. Got some stuff oozing from the old sinus cavities, but appreciate everybody checking out on me.
I'm glad you're feeling better. I mean, we thought that we were going to have to call 911 from long distance on you the other day. I mean,
that was just high pollen count, I'm sure.
I thought maybe it was just you being a hypochondriac, but
Nah, everybody else in the house had it too. So
misery loves company.
Yeah. So anyhow, ready to get moving.
Yeah, John Deluxe says, is accepting a gift membership on Rumble like it is on YouTube, do I have to do something turned on, or will it? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I tried to dig into that and find out, but I have no clue.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could do gift memberships until I just saw Hunch do it. So I was looking for the Hunch, the Dirty Roofer, on the YouTube when I saw those popping up, and I realized, wait a second, that's popping up with the Rumble, and so I went over to Rumble and looked, and sure enough. Guys, before we jump into to talk about odds and ends and whatnot, I know sometimes we talk about things that have nothing to do with the show or whatever, but let's talk real quick about Val Kilmer, man. That was, like you said, Joe, that was kind of I think we all knew he was sick, but at the same time, you don't expect a guy like that to go. That sucked, man.
Yeah, from a guy from in his youth being one of the powerhouses of film and a pinnacle of fitness, really, to where he ended up. Really rough, man. He had a lot of great roles that a lot of people don't know about, right?
Yeah.
The Saint, and he plays a Danish reporter in a movie called 5 Days of War. Great movie about the Georgian conflict, actually, if you want to learn about that.
So, that's right. I forgot about that one. That was pretty much the
great film. That's actually a future conflict type film, actually.
Yeah, that's like the only movie that even touched the Georgian war. I mean,
Yeah, and the best part of it is after the movie, as the credits are playing, they have Georgian family members talking about what happened to them and their missing family members and all that kind of stuff. Very moving film from that respect. And Val Kilmer's outstanding in it. So.
So we got. I chose a couple selected, clips for us to watch just to kind of remember the man. And I think probably one of his finest actual technical acting roles that he ever did, I think was Tombstone, and we got that one queued up. Let's watch that because this is that critical scene at the end.
Play for blood, remember? I was just fooling about. I wasn't.
Another underrated actor right there.
Oh, Michael Biehn. Yeah, I mean, one of his non-SEAL roles.
Right.
All right, Lunger. Let's do it.
I love the off sound.
Yeah.
Say when.
Not a fan of the cross draw, though.
Come on. Come on. Oh, Johnny. Come on. You know Daisy. You know Daisy at all. Poor soul. He was just too high strung.
You were just too high strung.
Before we move to the next one, quick word from James Woods on that. He says his rendition of Doc Holliday in Tombstone was what every actor dreams of achieving. So many wonderful performances. Sad to lose him so soon.
Yeah, and he was only 65. I mean, 65 is not old like it used to be, I mean...
No. He was... the best part of that movie is the discussion in Latin between him and Johnny Ringo.
Yeah.
Right? Something about the eyes reminds me of me. Yep, I hate it. It's really good.
So Val Kilmer though had way different. He had so many different types of roles that he did, and you should watch him in a movie like Tombstone. It's hard to remember that he also was in like comedies and stuff. So this is Top Secret, a fucking classic if you haven't seen that.
Well, get out on that floor and hit that rug tonight. Well, get out on that floor and hit that rug tonight. We're gonna shake that rug to the early light. I said romp and stomp and slide like the devil on the ground.
Did he ever play Elvis? He was a great Jim Morris, but I don't know.
Somebody mentioned it in the chat that his role as Jim Morrison was fantastic.
Yeah.
You gotta give it a push. Yeah, give it a shove. Well, rug cutting, honey, now, baby. Give it a tug.
Anyway, so yeah, Top Secret is really funny. And we were watching a clip from Real Genius before the show started as well. So, and then the final one, Joe, this has got to be one of the the classic, not just classic Val Kilmer roles, because it's a great role, but this scene has got to be, it's true. I knew he played Elvis somewhere. And he was not on screen. He was kind of off screen and blurry, right? It's so he didn't even do it for the recognition. But this final one, the tweet here says the Marines actually have used this to show Marines and soldiers how to do reloads. I mean, this is clearly
there's a fantastic role right here. Yeah.
So this is probably the most future conflict of all of his scenes.
The most iconic scene of that movie, too, by the way.
Yeah.
How you suppress
Push pause. Joe, when you see the bad guy, what do you do?
When you see what?
When you identify the enemy, and what do you do on contact?
You shoot at him and call out contact.
And this is one of the things. Well, you don't have to call it contact when you start shooting, but the thing that so many soldiers don't understand is that you don't say anything, you don't do anything, you just start shooting.
Just go to work. Yeah.
And this is a great example of that. Go ahead. The sound is so good in this.
Oh yeah.
The echoing of the
I want to know what American Police Department issued that rifle that Al Pacino got.
Oh, I know that. What is it? It's an FN, right? FN.
It's
I can't
remember.
Yeah. So I went to a gun show, like this was back in the 90s, the late 90s, and one of the tables there was like a movie guns, and it was a display, and it wasn't like behind glass or anything. They just were on the table, and they were, they had, and so like you could pick up one of the Heat like M4s, right? Yeah. It was really cool being able to see those. Yeah, FN, FNC. Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, that's tough when you lose one of your heroes from when you were younger. But
yeah, there was that other movie that came out with Pacino and Robert De Niro, and for the ad they said never appeared before in a movie together. I'm like, you are forgetting Heat, my friends.
Exactly right. Exactly right. All right, guys. Anything else we need to cover before we jump into odds and ends? I think we just got to jump into it now because we're kind of running behind. All right. Little action in Syria, Joe. This one kind of surprised me when I read about this. Turkey's deciding they're going to grab some real estate. You'd think that it'd be near Turkey. Oh, no, it's in the middle of Syria. Turkey has begun efforts to take control of Syria's Talyas air base, also known as T4, and is preparing to deploy air defense systems there. Sources familiar with the matter told Middle East Eye. Construction plans for the site are already reportedly underway. Ankara and Damascus have been negotiating a defense pact since December following the ousting of Bashar al-Assad. The agreement would see Turkey provide air cover and military protection for Syria's new government, which currently lacks a functioning military. Although Turkish officials have previously downplayed the possibility of a military presence in Syria, describing such plans as premature, negotiations have quietly continued. While Israel views a Turkish military presence in Syria as a potential threat, Ankara aims to stabilize the country by leveraging its military capabilities and filling the power vacuum left by the withdrawal of Russia and Iran. You know, Joe, if Israel ever had to strike Turkey, their forces in Syria would be a legitimate target that would not fall under the NATO provisions.
Correct. Make Turkey the Ottoman Empire again. I think that everyone is seeing this as an opportunity, and my prediction is that Syria will be no more. It's going to become Israel and Turkey, and that will be that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Israel basically Golan Heights, that entire chunk of southwestern Syria, where the Alawites live. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they just basically said, "No, this is officially under our protection, and we will we will basically put a fence up."
Golan Heights is actually Syrian occupied, and it was technically part of Lebanon. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that they wanted to. It wasn't really till the advent of Trump that Israel was able to fully incorporate the Golan Heights, but they've settled it. I mean, there are no Syrians there anymore, so it's not like they're occupied territory or whatever. It's just let's see. A source familiar with the matter told Middle Eastern Eye that Turkey has begun moving to take control of T4 air base located near Palmyra in central Syria. A Hisar-type air defense system will be deployed to T4 to provide air cover for the base. Once the system is in place, the base will be reconstructed and expanded with necessary facilities. Ankara also plans to deploy surveillance and armed drones, including those with extended strike capabilities. I'll be honest with you, Joe. I think this is like that knife in the heart of Syria by Turkey, if you will. There's no when some other country establishes a base in the middle of your country, your sovereignty is just, especially if it's not like you inviting them in, or in the framework of some sort of mutual defense, treaty or something like that. I just don't see how Syria has a future the way it's fragmented. You have still four distinct areas under four different controls.
Yes, I guess yes.
Yeah, we've got the Kurdish area, we got Syria, and then we've got the Turkish controlled area, and then if I remember correctly, there's HTS area that's under, but then there's another, Syrian National SNA area, which is not directly tied to HTS. So they're all Al-Qaeda of one strip or another, if you ask me, with the exception of the Kurds. This is a really sticky wicket. I don't understand why they think this is a good idea. So here's a map that kind of shows you where it's at. It's kind of like closer to Palmyra, but between Homs and Palmyra. This Palmyra and this entire area had been devastated by ISIS back in the early 2010s. This is probably one of those air bases in the middle of nowhere where we saw ISIS just kind of, pile over. Ankara eventually aims to establish a layered air defense system in and around the base, which would have short, medium, and long-range air defense capabilities against a variety of threats. From who, Joe?
I have no idea.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I was reading a comment. So
no, but it's the layered air defense. Who would attack? The dastardly Lebanese and their insidious air force. I mean,
yes, the violent Lebanese and their highly effective military. Yeah,
I know.
Wait, it's Turkey. It's Turkey building up this, right?
Right.
Well, come on now. We all know who Turkey is building up air defense against. Then, dem Jews.
Well, but the irony is that the Israelis and the Turks have only been obliquely in conflict
Turks
with
have
each other.
Literally been saying, if you don't get out of Palestine, we're going to come invade you. They've literally been saying that out loud.
I know that. I mean, that's Erdogan, but then again, Erdogan says that about all kinds of people. So it's kind of hard to see this as some sort of grand play against Israel. So that's where the kind of story goes next. Israel's regularly scheduled. Syrian military regularly targeted Syrian military installations since Assad government collapsed in December. With a recent surge of operations around T4, last week the Israeli Air Force struck T4 and Palmyra Air Base, targeting runways and strategic assets. An Israeli security source told the media on Monday that any Turkish airbase in Syria would undermine Israel's freedom of operation. This is a potential threat that we oppose. The irony is that if Israel operates in and around that area and they just don't hit the Turkish forces, what business is that of Turkey's? I mean, Israel has the ability to act in their sovereign interest. I mean, Joe. I mean, let's be honest. Israel's has. I think their strikes against Syrian military equipment is all very legitimate, and Turkey shouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, this is just Turkey going for a land grab to expand the caliphate that they see coming. Mm-hmm. And Al Qaeda has always been friends with the Turkish authorities. It's ISIS that was not. So this actually pretty well.
Even ISIS sold their oil up through Turkey.
Absolutely. It's just a crazy part of the world where alliances shift every day, and violence is the way of life.
Let's see. This is an Israeli quote here. We targeted the T-Force military base recently to send a message. We will not allow any threat to our operational freedom in the air. The first Middle Eastern eye source also revealed that Ankara has considered temporary deployment of the S-400 air defense system to T4. Yeah. Look how well that did for Russia. I mean, let's be honest. The Russian air defense has not covered itself in glory. So I don't know that maybe they just assume that the T400 is the S400 is,
I imagine they're probably moving the S400 in there because they can probably just pick up S400 rockets that are just sitting there and then use them. So, or I mean, not S400 rockets, but you know what I mean? The rockets that the S400 fires are probably sitting on that airfield already.
Yeah, the S-400 system, like a lot of those Soviet systems, it can fire not just the S-400 specific rockets, but also the rockets for the S-300, which the Syrian government, I believe the Syrian government had which is the SA-10 on the NATO parlance. Meanwhile, Ankara and Washington have been in talks about lifting the sanctions imposed on Turkey over its purchase of the Russian-made S-400 system, which led Turkey to removal from the F-35 program back in 2019. This is a kind of an oldie but a goodie here. These pictures of ISIS and Turkey working together. I mean, it's pretty rich, actually. This kind of goes to show you how serious Turkey is.
Wait until you see a photo of John McCain standing next to al-Baghdadi.
I know, right? In fairness, I think ISIS was worse than Al Qaeda, but only in degrees, right, Joe? It's
only
it's
in occupation mode, right? Terror attacks are terror attacks, but Al Qaeda never really held territory until now. Al Qaeda was more of a militia that moved and struck. The problem with ISIS became the brutality of their occupation.
Yeah. They fought the exact same way the HTS people fought, all this kind of stuff. The thing that made them different is how they governed, and they absolutely governed with brutality. That was just something that we'd never seen before. Because even the Taliban wasn't that bad. But then again, the Taliban was a different kind of organization in a different place. All right, guys, that's all I want to talk about with this one. Let's move on to the next one. It's kind of adjacent, kind of area adjacent, shall we? Iran has been incredibly weakened by over 200 U.S. strikes on Houthis, says the White House. Let's see. Immense controversy has ensued in the wake of Signalgate, which involved the discussions of the war planning with Atlantic journalist Jeffrey Goldberg. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I think that what the fallout of that was probably right. It was a mistake to use Signal. Yes. No critical information was given. Basically, I think they got a counseling and just, tighten up your shot group, motherfuckers, and then move out. I think that probably is the right way to handle that.
Well, I don't know how much this actually weakens Iran. It does use up a lot of Iranian provided supplies. It does give Iran a big black eye publicly. So Iran is going to have to do something about this, which is probably why we see a buildup of B-2s and KC-135s at Diego Garcia. And the reason why it's not been kept secret, it's probably the worst kept secret. And I think that's the entire point, right? Warning Iran that these assets do exist in the area. And I saw a ridiculous tweet by one of the OSINT bros. We keep warning you all about the OSINT bros, for the record, that said, Iran is making plans to preemptively strike Diego Garcia. That's really neat and all, but Iran does not physically possess the capabilities to do so in any way, shape, or form. So they're not going to strike Diego Garcia.
Yeah. I think that's right. Well, I let's be honest. I don't know that Iran really on a good day could do it. Even if their systems had the legs, I don't think that they would be able to actually put steel on target, if you will.
It's way out of their range. They just don't have that capability.
Yeah, it's basically, it's just too much. All right, I'm going to let's see. Let me read a little more here. The White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said there's been over 200 strikes on targets in Yemen. It's long been a U.S. talking point going back to 2015 that the Houthis have been supplied by the Iranians. This is absolutely true. We've caught the Iranians red-handed doing it. Shipments of Iranian weapons have over the years been intercepted by U.S. naval ships in the Gulf area. The group has fired at least 8 ballistic missiles on Israel over the past week, but the U.S. is leading the way in the anti-Houthi operations. There have now been, however, 200 successful strikes. Iran is incredibly weakened as a result. They've taken out Houthi leaders, critical members who have been launching strikes on naval ships and commercial vessels. The operation will not stop until freedom of navigation in the region has been restored. Houthis haven't confirmed the deaths of any leaders, nor have the U.S. side acknowledged the repeat attacks on U.S. warships in the carrier USS Truman. Let's see. According to a brief statement broadcast by Houthi-run Al Masara TV, 5 airstrikes at dawn targeted the Jarba area in San Sahan. the district southwest of Sana'a, while 2 others hit the Bani Matar district west of the capital. The statement further indicated that Sana'a, the stronghold of the group, was subjugated to 15 U.S. airstrikes overnight, but did not disclose specific locations targeted. Of course not, because they're getting their teeth kicked in. I mean, the good news about when Americans drop bombs, for the most part, and this is for the most part, not always. Let's call it 90% of the time. They've got literally a positive ID, positive proof of ID, proof of life on the ground that the guy is doing. They're hitting those targets. That was one of the things that was so shocking about the pullout of the Afghan and the emotional reprisals that the administration did after all those Marines were killed in that suicide attack. They had no idea who they were striking in those strikes. I get the feeling that they're probably back on their game with where they're striking now.
Well, one, we say the word Abbey Gate here, so the Abbey Gate incident.
I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember it.
Shame on you. You should always remember. Anyway,
can't remember everything, brother.
Yeah, no, I got you. That one was just the administration needing to kill someone, and they just picked this poor schmuck, and probably because he had a similar name to someone who once appeared in a report. So they schwacked that guy. But that was just them trying to look tough in the eyes of the world after an abysmal failure.
Billy Boggs, nobody deleted any of your comments, just FYI.
And literally, there's a silly comment. We really had nothing. We weren't talking about them at all. So, them Jews, bro. Stop it. Just stop it.
Israel strategic to Israel.
Yeah.
All right. It's just I get the feeling that I have a better feeling. I don't know exactly what's happening over there, but I have a better feeling that the people are that are involved in these strikes are very serious people and are trying to actually knock these targets out. For all the things that we criticize him, him being Donald Trump for his first administration, one thing he was pretty relentless on was the strikes on ISIS, and they were very good at getting the right targets. So applying that logic to the Houthis, I wouldn't want to be you guys. All right.
The first album was great, but after that they went downhill quick.
What's that? The first album was great. Is that what you said? Yeah, I agree.
Everybody likes
it a lot. Well, they had a good single off the second album, but that was about it. Let's move on to the next topic here. There will be no negotiating. So this is what I like to see. I like to see people who do stupid shit fuck around and find out here in America. There will be no negotiating. Tesla firebombing suspect hit with federal charges faces 20 years in prison. The thing that's shocking people is that they don't know what a destructive device is. And when you create a Molotov cocktail, that is a destructive device. It's all fun and games when you do it out on their back 40 and nobody ever knows about it. But when you do it in the commission of a crime, it's absolutely something that they're going to take you to task over.
It's not like it's child trafficking or anything where they just ignore you. They're going to actually.
Right. Exactly right. U.S. Department of Justice has filed federal charges against a suspect in connection with the firebombing attack on Tesla dealership in Colorado. Cooper Frederick, 24, faces federal charges related to the March 7th attack, according to Attorney General Pam Bondi. I made it clear if you take part in the wave of domestic terrorism, I made it clear if you take part in the wave of domestic terrorism against Tesla properties We will find you, arrest you, and put you behind bars, Bondi said.
I'm going to say something unpopular right here.
Well, let me finish because I know where you're going. And you're actually taking my thunder by saying this, but I'll give it to you. But let me finish this part. Today, I'm proud to announce that the Department of Justice has unsealed the federal charges against another Tesla attacker. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. So this is a tactical error by the Trump administration. Everyone's screeching that they've become an oligarchy, and yet we are going over the top against people who target Donald Trump's best friend's business while completely ignoring the Epstein list, right?
Right.
Or other high-profile crimes that have been committed that we all know have been committed, including the Department of Justice knows have been committed, to absolutely drop the hammer on these people. This is January 6th for the other side. Now, I get it. The guy did wrong. This was terrorism. This is bad. But going to the mats on this so openly and publicly is a problem. You can arrest the guy and charge him without making a big deal about it, which is what they should be doing to defeat that image of oligarchy. All this is doing is feeding the left more fuel for resistance and violence. It's playing right into their hand, and it's yet another tactical error by the Trump administration. So they should probably be quieter about it. Keep doing it. It needs to happen, but don't make it the sole focus of the Department of Justice right now.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that was most disturbing about the whole January 6th thing. It was not the fact that they arrested people who trespassed and things like this. It's that they tried to call them something that they weren't, which was an insurrection. And I know we're not saying these guys are insurrectionists, but by labeling them as
and I am saying, and before you get there, I am saying they absolutely are terrorists. That is to stop people from buying Teslas and to crash Tesla's price via terroristic action is 100% their intended goal.
Yeah, but here's where I'm in agreement with Joe is that when you make a big deal about arresting and prosecuting these guys, but you don't even do anything, like if you said, listen, we've got so much evidence that we have to go through it all, and it's going to take us at least 2 months before we're ready to press any charges with Epstein. But right now we have a list of 57 people that we're going to charge in the Epstein case. If they said that, at least that would be transparency and some sort of intent to, hey, listen, there are people they're going to go down for this. They're not even saying that. They're not even addressing it. That the thing that she did with the whole Epstein files are missing was actually worse than doing nothing, because it was basically like a bait and switch. And so I think the part that I find most distasteful is the secular, rabid politicization of this whole thing. I think you should just call it, you can call it terrorism. You can charge these people 20 years, but to make a big deal over it and then not over all these other things that we've got so much more evidence on, I just feel like they're shooting at targets, but they're hitting the wrong targets. Mexican Iron Man for $10, my favorite not a YouTuber. Guys, you are being way too harsh on the DOJ. We need to be more patient, because just think of all the time Pam Bondi sacrifices for us in the Fox News hair and makeup department. Come on, guys, do better. You're right. Hey, let me ask you this, Joe. Would the amount of hairspray that the average Fox News anchor use, would that count as a destructive device?
I actually think that they're spending most of their time following around the Instagram DHS secretary, because she spends most of her time in hair and makeup. Not necessarily as much as Pam Bondi. So.
Let's see.
Have you not seen the Instagram videos that come out of Kristi Noem's office? The ridiculous wastes of taxpayer money. That's what.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I'm torn on that, Joe. Right, and it's not so much about Chrissy
whether or
Noem.
not she spends too much time on Instagram.
No. I'm talking about Chrissy Noem specifically. I'm torn as to whether or not like the actual secretaries really do anything. Right, it's kind of like they just kind of send out a policy paper every day, and then they stand there with their hands on their hips, and and I'm not saying just in the Trump administration. I'm talking about in all the administration.
But that's not my point. My point is that the nonstop stream of videos, she's taking all of those agents off of their jobs and out of the field to pose as if she's going on raids with them, and she's not, and we all know that. But she's taking agents out of the field and making them pose with her, which is just absolutely silly. Just do the job. That's all we want you to do. We don't want to see you on Instagram. Just do the job.
All right. Is there anything else I wanted to cover into this? Let's see. All these cases, there are a serious threat to public safety. Therefore, there will be no negotiating. We are seeking 20 years in prison. In Canada, approximately 80 Tesla vehicles were also vandalized. So this is all just kind of continuation of the stuff that we've been covering. I think it's good to take this serious. I do. I think it's good to take this serious.
Absolutely. But maybe not go to the level of Pam Bondi making statements about it. Have the local U.S. attorney make the statement, not the attorney general.
Yeah, make it more of a local or regional type of thing. And if national media wants to pick it up and maybe ask her a question, I think that's okay.
Well, quick interruption.
Yeah,
welcome everybody on Twitter. Finally, I've been working the whole morning to try and figure out what the heck happened, and now you're with us.
Is it working now? I still have an error.
It is working now, according to me, and I can see it on the other side. I can see it on Twitter's side.
Oh, yeah, I see it now, too. So, evidently, we've been down since literally the very beginning. I saw you guys talking about maybe a copy struck or something, but I think literally, like, there was an error in the first couple seconds of the... So, anyway, that's... Welcome, Twitter. Or welcome, X. All right. Joe, let's talk a little bit about tactical-wisdom.com, shall we? Once you finish commenting with the chat there, I won't interrupt you.
Let's talk about it. I got folks registered for some tactical self-defense classes this weekend. We're going to do some unarmed defense and ground defense on Saturday, sticks and knives on Sunday. Always fun times. And spots are starting to fill up for our big spring training week. May 16th to the 25th. So if you're coming to that and you haven't reached out to me about rooms, you will probably end up in a tent because the rooms are going very fast. And so are the slots. So sign up. I also have a fieldcraft class coming up in between them, April 25th through the 27th. So that will be fun. A little spring fieldcraft in Montana. I'm working on this week the schedule for the rest of the year. There will be some new survival type classes added out there, not necessarily so tactical focused, but on survival and escape and evasion in a mountain environment. Since we have a mountain environment, why not, right? And we'll also be adding in the vehicle operations class by the end of the year, which will be a lot of fun. A lot of good things going on there. I haven't put a new article up on Tactical Wisdom recently, but I will. I did do a review over on Locals for John Mosby's second book, The Reluctant Partisan, The Underground, Volume 2, where it goes into two-man CQB. It goes into a lot of pistol work, but more importantly, it covers intelligence gathering and counterintelligence in an urban environment. So outstanding book by a friend of Matt and I's, John Mosby. Great stuff. Mountain Gorilla. A lot of good stuff. So check that out. If you're only subscribed to the tactical-wisdom.com site, you're missing out on a lot of content over on the Locals page. And guys, for whatever reason, Locals is not letting me upload that video. I'm trying to get it converted to something that it will work on. But I will get that video, the Bleeding Kansas video, up been having a lot of struggles with it. So that'll be up there.
All right, very good. Let's.
Well, before we go,
Yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
you forgot our fourth odd and end.
Oh yes. Watch your run. I'll leave this in your capable hands.
I'll just let the clip speak for itself.
I was a worker at HHS. I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it?
You probably deserved
I deserved it.
Dude,
Wow.
that's so sad.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
because you seem like a clown.
Oh, thanks, sir. You shouldn't have put that on.
That thing is, you know, it's funny, no matter how many times I see it.
I know,
man.
because you seem like a clown. Oh my God, yes. I mean, he definitely has their number.
That elevator deserves an Oscar nomination.
All right. So we're out of order here on the next topic. Do story number 2 before and then it'd be 2, 1, 3 is the order of these stories. Sorry, watcher. All right. So Trump tariff plan still in limbo after Rose Garden event. Now, I am not able to see what is happening like minute by minute that's at the White House. So I don't know if he may have called it all off or he may have doubled down on everything. I don't know. I mean, with Trump, you never know. So if something is a little off here, then bear with me. This is a Bloomberg article. President Donald Trump's deliberations over his plans to impose reciprocal tariffs are coming down to the wire. It's like I got to reload my page. Coming down to the wire. In meetings on Tuesday, Trump's team continued to hash out their options ahead of the Rose Garden event scheduled to begin at the U.S. markets close at 4 p.m. Wednesday. Okay, so good. Theoretically, nobody will know until 4 p.m. People familiar with the ongoing discussion said the White House has not reached a firm decision on their tariff plan. Said that the people who spoke on the condition of anonymity, even though Trump himself said earlier in the week that he had settled on an approach. You know, the interesting thing, guys, I was doing a little research on this whole Trump and tariffs thing. Trump has been talking about tariffs since the 80s. You know, so this is not an issue that he has just kind of come up with, you know, as, you know, like, because the first time anybody heard him really talking about the tariffs was when he started talking tough on China back during the first administration and the first election season. But he's really, this is like, he really believes this. And, you know, I think that we're going to see these tariffs come hell or high water. Several proposals are said to be under consideration, including a tiered tariff system with a set of flat rates for countries, as well as more customized reciprocal plan. Under the first option, the countries would see their goods face levies at either 10 or 20% rate, depending on the tariff and non-tariff barriers on U.S. goods. Rumors and whispers raced across Washington and Wall Street Tuesday, with less than 24 hours to go until Trump's announcement as companies, 24 hours as companies, countries, and lobbyists paid to influence the president's agenda tried to find out final details. The Wall Street Journal reported that Trump's aides were studying a more targeted option, while Fox News said Tuesday that Trump was also still considering a flat 20% global tariff. That's kind of heavy. Joe, I mean, is this too wonky for you, or are you, because it feels a little wonky to me, but at the same time, I think it's really important. So
My eyes just crossed so hard that they ran into each other in the middle and bounced back to the other side.
I know that's how I feel too, but this is one of those kind of things. It's going to touch all of us, and you know, it's going to be a really tough juggling act when you put a tariff into the market. You're pulling money out of the market, so you have to give money back somewhere else. And I think that's where his idea of the tax cuts, basically eliminating income tax for people up to 150,000, which kind of makes sense. Puts that money back in the market. Yeah, it's the admission. Yeah, maybe things are going to be a little higher under tariffs, but with a tax cut, you'll have more money to spend it on. So
here's the funniest thing. Literally every other nation in the world has had tariffs on American goods.
Yep.
The minute America reciprocates, it's evil and the worst thing ever, and they must add more tariffs. Canada's always had a 300% tariff on American dairy. Europe has always had tariffs on imported U.S. cars to try and protect the European car market. It's why you don't see as many Chevys and Fords in Europe as you do other things. It's silly that America is the only place not allowed to have borders and not allowed to have tariffs.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. When I was explaining the whole idea of mutual tariffs, to my family, they're like, "Wait, you mean you don't already?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the big controversy is we've never had tariffs against countries like South Korea and Europe and Japan, but there are these huge barriers to all sorts of U.S. products coming into those countries."
Yeah, it's especially rich when China complains about American tariffs because you can't sell products in China due to the tariffs that are on American goods coming into China. They don't want their people having American goods, so they price them out of the market.
Well, the irony is that's the stuff that they do allow. There are whole segments of the United States economy that can't even export goods to China. I mean, the Chinese just, it's a no, all told, let me go back here. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told lawmakers that tariffs would be a cap, reflecting the highest levels they'd go, with countries able to then take steps to bring the rates down. Let's see. Representative Kevin Hern, an Oklahoma Republican, told CNBC. So that makes sense, right? Hey, listen, you're going to get these tariffs, but if you show us some love, we'll show you some love. That seems like a reasonable approach to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Cabinet officials and lawmakers have been invited to the announcement, along with workers and executives from the U.S. steel industry, according to those familiar with the plans. Trump officials plan on fanning out on the airwaves throughout the day to pitch the president's vision. Let's see, that's coming from a White House spokesperson. Under the two-tiered approach, the highest levies would be applied to countries perceived as the biggest offenders, both in terms of true tariffs as well as easily quantifiable non-tariff measures that act to deter U.S. imports. Trump's White House, if they do a two-tiered system at 10 and 20%, that's actually pretty damn reasonable, Joe.
It is. It is. But so I lived in Metro Detroit, literally 20 minutes from Canada. And now I'm about an hour. Well, where I'm sitting right now is about 2 hours from Canada, but Kalispell is about an hour from Canada. Go to Walmart in Detroit or Kalispell, Montana, or anywhere along the border, and look at the license plates in the parking lots of Walmart. The vast majority of them is cross-border traffic from Canada. Why? They come down here to buy milk and eggs because there's a 300% tariff on them into Canada, which artificially protects high prices of Canadian dairy products within Canada. Yeah. So it's cheaper to spend the gas money to drive down here and buy milk and eggs, as long as you don't go over the limit that you can bring in and drive them back. But that's been going on for decades. It's only wrong when we reciprocate. I just don't understand that. I will keep beating that horse for the record.
No, I'm with you there. I'm with you there, Joe. I think you're absolutely right.
Every shopping mall in Metro Detroit was full of Canadians buying clothing, food, all these other things, because tariffs on foreign industry have allowed their own retail sector to keep prices high artificially, right? Rather than introducing competition. And if you do introduce competition, it's at such a high price due to tariffs coming into Canada that it can't compete. And all it does is drive their business dollars, their spendable income into the U.S. It was hurting them in the long run. They just don't realize it.
Yeah. Let's see. Another approach would see the U.S. applying individualized reciprocal rates tailored to countries based on their existing levies and non-tariff barriers. This approach was publicly signaled for weeks, but some recent deliberation suggests it's no longer the main focus. There have also been discussions of a return to Trump's original proposal, a flat global tariff, which could apply evenly to trillions of dollars of imports. And the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump was considering a more targeted plan that would apply a tariff of less than 20% to a narrow selection of countries. So, I mean, that sounds more, again, like this tiered system where the good guys get maybe 10% and the bad guys get 20%. While the White House said that the tariffs would take effect immediately, it's almost likely that they will be imposed at 12 a.m. New York time on Thursday, while other levies on auto imports are due to kick in. The administration has delayed implementation of some of the previously announced tariffs on some Chinese, Mexican, and Canadian goods because of logistical concerns, and similar issues could again come into play. The frenzies international process and 11th hour crunch are not uncommon for Trump, who took a similar approach to auto tariffs announced last week, but they signaled genuine internal debate over a matter that external analysis warned could tip the country into a recession. The key there is you got to cut taxes and you got to put money in people's pockets other way. You can't give them money, but definitely cutting back taxes, I think, is one of the ways, especially once we start seeing the revenues come in from these tariffs. They're saying kind of conservatively that they're going to pull in about $300 billion worth of revenue on this. That's in addition to what the regular revenue is. The Treasury Secretary said that he expects to actually get over $1 trillion worth of revenue. I think that's a little on the optimistic side for this first year, maybe the second year. But now it just kind of goes over to Doge, right? Elon and his team has got to cut at least $1 trillion worth of fat off the federal budget, and so we'll see if that. It seems like it's going well. There seems like there's a lot of efficiencies to be made, but Rome wasn't made in a day. You eat an elephant by one bite at a time. So, I try to be patient, but it's good to know at least what the plan is. All right. That's about all I want to talk about with that. Now, as you could, so what for me on this stuff is like, how is this hitting my retirement account and things like that? So there's this article here in Zero Hedge that says future slide as market awaits liberation. Now, I would normally not touch these kind of articles. This is why I have like people like Jim and Stan around, and as they haven't been around as much, we haven't talked about these types of things. But it's like I recognize that is important. So let me attempt to decipher this. So this article talks about what's happening with the financial world as people wait for an important announcement. So this, that we just talked about. The main focus is on Liberation Day, which Trump is calling the day he plans to announce new tariffs, basically taxes on goods coming into the U.S. from other countries. This has investors and markets on edge because tariffs can affect prices, trade, and economy in big ways. The article says that the stock market futures, which are like bets, if you know what a future is, that's the bet against the market, a short or a long or whatever, are dropping because people are nervous about what the tariffs may be. This article mentions that stock futures like those of the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, are going down slightly as early morning of April 2nd. Meanwhile, markets in Europe and Asia are mixed. Some are up and some are down. Investors are unsure because Trump has been vague about the details. Joe, I don't know where you're at with your savings and whatnot. If you're all gold all the time, Watcher is he's buying and selling meme coins, looking for the next 100x boost to his stock.
He's still sitting on all those ones from the Hoptua coins. So
yeah, Watcher, are you a Hoptua bag holder? It's
no.
a joke. It's a joke, Watcher. It would have been funnier if you leaned into it and said, "Oh yeah,
I know."
Well,
but,
I mean, the actual funnier part is I did invest in a meme coin very early on. It was called Doge, and it happens to have worked out pretty okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, the first meme coin. If I think that was the first meme coin.
I'd agree with you.
Yes, futures are forward-looking. That's what future means.
Well, mine is just mostly silver and gold. There's a little bit of brass and copper thrown in there and lead, but
silver and gold. Hey, I'm sorry.
But there is also some traditional holdings. But I'm more of a long game person. I don't go with this up and down fluctuation on a day-to-day basis. I'm way more of a long-term guy.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I'm looking at retirement, which is something that I'll probably never actually get to do. I'll probably declare my retirement like at the ripe old age of 71 and then fall over dead the next day. So I'll never get
to do it, though.
I love it. It's. There's some funny meme coins out there. The advertising around some of the meme coins is really funny. Anyway, Doge at 0.0003 was nice. The thing for me though is that like I try to keep my hat on as a investor. I'm looking for these opportunities, in the market to where potentially there might be some bargains to be found. I don't give investment advice, but there's, as the market goes down, there's always money to be made. So I try not to get
my retirement plan is that I'm an author, so I get royalties no matter what. So
amen, brother. That's actually a pretty good retirement plan. But I just
start you all to buy some books though. So buy some books. Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, the whole point is like the entire financial world is holding their breath on this whole tariffs thing. It doesn't help, like in the last story, we highlighted the fact that the administration hasn't been exactly clear on where they're going with all this. So it's kind of, once again, we'll know when we know. And so it's kind of like weather forecasting, right? Especially when it comes to Trump and the vagaries of how he presents his plans to the world. So we'll all know at 4 or thereabouts. So it should be interesting. All right. Moving on. Kind of related to this, now that the tariffs and we've got all this kind of, global, trade tension and things like this. And Donald Trump is saying all kinds of crazy things like Germany should stand on its own 2 feet, or Europe should stand on its own 2 feet, or take responsibility for your own actions, or all this completely irresponsible, Joe, for him to, hey, maybe Germany needs to pay for its own defense, these completely irresponsible ideas. German politicians are worried about their gold all of a sudden in U.S. vaults.
Crazy.
For decades, the idea that Germany's gold reserves, some of the largest in the world, may not be safe in U.S. vaults would have seemed like a kind of stuff for out of a conspiracy theory. But the political landscape shifts in Washington and questions have been raised as to what's actually in U.S. vaults. Some German lawmakers are beginning to wonder aloud, is their gold still secure? Joe,
Well,
as much as I'm not a fan of Germany these days, and by the way, for those of you who said in the chat that the Germany is a stooge of the U.S., read a headline, buddy. Like, we're on wildly divergent paths at this point.
mm-hmm.
But this gold is not going anywhere.
I don't know. Hey, whatever happened to we're about to audit the Fort Knox?
Thank you.
What happened to that?
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah. There was a lot of enthusiasm. There was a. We're gonna live stream it. We're gonna. Oh.
Hey man, that's not a good idea. You don't want to open that.
So let's see what it says here. Germany holds the second largest hoard of gold on the planet, surpassed only by the U.S. Roughly 37% of that treasure, some 1,236 metric tons, currently valued at 113 billion euros, supposedly lies deep beneath the streets of Manhattan in the Federal Reserve in New York.
What was the movie about them taking that gold?
Was that Die Hard?
Yeah,
like Die Hard 3, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now some in Berlin are rethinking that assumption. Of course, the question now rises. Let's see. Wanderwitz, a Christian Democratic Union center-right lawmaker, has long harbored doubts about the wisdom of keeping such a significant portion of the country's wealth abroad. Joe, I thought they were worried that Russia may threaten them.
What?
I mean, if they're worried about Russia, why wouldn't they want to keep their gold? They should keep their gold in the U.S. I mean, that makes nothing but perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the deposit on all the shit that we're going to end up having to send them. We'll just take it off the top of their gold reserves sitting in New York. Too bad Ukraine doesn't have gold reserves sitting in New York, or else we could seize that. Fellow CDU member Marcus Ferber, a member of the European Parliament, is calling for official representatives of the Bundesbank must personally count the bars and document their results. I guess that's what happens when somebody makes a big deal about the gold in Fort Knox, and Germany gets a wild hair up their ass and thinks that they're going to have to Fort Knox audit their own gold in the New York. But you know what? I can't imagine they couldn't send somebody over literally any time and do this. It's not like the New York Fed's going to say, no, you can't see your gold.
It sounds like somebody from the German consulate in New York City couldn't just drive over and be like, hey, man.
I'm here. Yeah, the ambassador, here's a letter from the ambassador. I'm here to count the gold. We're going to take pictures of it. Let's see. For the Deutsche Bank, which oversees the management of the general reserves, a suggestion of instability is unwelcome. We have a trustworthy and reliable partner in the Fed in New York for storage of our gold holdings. It does not keep me awake at night. I have complete confidence. Yeah, so this is just, I love Zero Hedge selling gold at the bottom of a story about gold.
Matt sells gold too, I think. You get brush beer gold, something like that. They're all partnerships with some gold company. They're not really yours.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this, though, guys. If you ever buy gold or silver, don't agree to let them hold it for you. Have them send it to you. Because if you don't have it, you don't own it. They just took your money and a future promise to at some point give you gold or silver. Have it brought to you.
I do just want to bring up a fun and interesting point here. Just a thought. Why, many ask, why is European gold in the United States? And the answer to that is kind of surprising. It might shock you to find that the European states are a little uncomfortable holding their own gold in their own countries because it's been sacked by each other so many times, almost as if they're just a crazy, bloodthirsty, warlike nation with brief interruptions where America makes them stop.
Yeah, I mean, the current situation with New York having all that gold from Europe is basically a holdover from the Cold War.
It's geography. It's literally just geography.
Yeah. All right, and honestly, it's so expensive to move that much gold around that it's easier just to leave it where it's at, and just account for it that way. All right, Joe. Anything else you guys want to talk about with Liberation Day and the coming of the global tariffs?
No, but I will remind everyone that I accept gold, silver, and crypto as payment. So just let me know. Let me know how you want to pay.
How about egg?
Absolutely. Eggs? Do you accept payment in eggs?
No. Damn it. Just for classes though. If you want to show up, take a class, you bring me 98 dozen eggs like Don did the last time.
Yeah, when Watcher comes up, he won't be paying in eggs. He'd be like, dude, take these eggs. I have so fucking many.
So Don really knew how to show up last year. He showed up with seriously, I gave about 48 dozen eggs and a total of 12 cases of Spam and 5 cases of crayons. So it was that guy right there has got like a lifetime credit with me.
All right. Let's move on, shall we, to our next China segment. Joe, they've done it again. They've surrounded Taiwan again.
They're just trying to normalize this, but yes.
Yeah, this is what's called conditioning in the military world. You condition the enemy to assume something is normal, and then you can go high and right one day, and they'll never suspect anything. China holds huge military drills from multiple directions around Taiwan. China on Tuesday launched major combined forces exercises around Taiwan as a stern warning in the wake of the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's pledge to counter China's aggression on the first visit to Asia, as well as alleged recent separatist statements by Taiwan President Lai Ching-te. People's Liberation Army Navy, love that name, Air Force and Rocket Force are involved in the drills, which seek to close in on self-ruled islands from multiple directions and practice maneuvers, including assaults on maritime and ground targets and blockades on key areas of sea lanes. Joe, more of the same or something a little different?
No, I think that things are increasing and picking up the pace. This is the first time they actually used the Shandong in quite a while for this purpose. It's been out there. It's the first time they've used it for this purpose. And I think things are building there. And this is just more attempts at normalizing all of this being around there. The biggest thing is they just tested that amphibious land bridge and all that. I really think that you are seeing a buildup to actual kinetic action. The longer they wait, the worse the chances of success get for China. So the window is closed. The window is closing. But by the way, random PNW guy points out that you missed a Rumble rant.
Here we go. Random PNW guy 84 for $2 says they probably checked and found no gold in Fort Knox and are slowly planning to slowly and quietly buy it, making a showing. See, we had it the whole time. No, what they're going to do is they're like, that's some nice gold you got there, Germany, in that vault in New York. We're just going to go ahead and transport that over to the Fort Knox vault, and then good luck getting it back.
Well, I'm sorry, but I can't help but picture what Afghan tribes members do during weapon inspection, and just who's to say what gold is what gold really? Nobody's seen that. Well, nobody's seen that. Okay, so there was.
If I've seen it, I don't remember it.
There was a problem with friendly forces where they would sell the pistols that they were issued and the various different firearms. And so you go for a weapons inspection, and you'd inspect one and go a couple more down, and wouldn't you know it, the guy 3 or 4 down there has surreptitiously passed his pistol down the line so that the next guy who'd sold his would have one for inspection.
That's the reason why anybody who would ever inspect something like that is incompetent and deserves what he gets. I mean, you always lay them all so you can see them all at one time. Yeah, everybody knows that.
Well, they knew what was happening.
I know. But that's Afghanistan. Go figure, right? Taiwan officials have blasted the drills as reckless and irresponsible. Taiwan's military subsequently elevated its readiness level to ensure China does not turn drills into combat and launch a sudden attack on us. During the kickoff to Hegseth's Asia visit, he hailed Japan in Sunday remarks as an indispensable partner in deterring Chinese aggression in the region. He further unveiled an upgrade in the U.S. military command in Japan to a new warfighting headquarters. China's foreign military, in turn, on Monday slammed the U.S. use of China threat rhetoric, which is bent on provoking confrontation, but which will end in regional countries being used as cannon fodder for the U.S. hegemony. Doesn't agree with that, but okay. Taiwan's presidential office posted on X that China's blatant military provocations not only threaten peace in the Taiwan Strait, but also undermine security in the entire region, as evidenced by drills near Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, and the Philippines in the SCS. We strongly condemn China's escalatory behavior. So it's Wednesday, and China is still China.
You know what? I want to address Karino's comment down there about Taiwan's flag designed by China to prep annexing Taiwan to China. Absolutely the other way around. That's completely false. The Taiwanese flag is the original flag of the Republic of China from about the turn of the century on. The reason why it's still there is because it is the official government of China. The Chinese Communist Party were the rebels, and they are the breakaway province, not the other way around.
Yeah.
The China, as you know it now, had nothing to do with the creation of the Taiwanese flag. And it's not even a Taiwanese flag. It's the Republic of China flag.
Yeah, 1928 is when that flag, the current flag, was adopted. The previous flag from 1912 to 1928 was it looked like a gay pride flag or something. It had red, yellow, blue, white, and black bars, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and no worries, Karen. We just want everyone to know that West Taiwan, or
yes,
the PRC, is the breakaway province, not the other way.
Right. West Taiwan is the breakaway. Yeah. That's correct. All right. Let's see. Moving on.
Before we move on, I
go ahead.
Got to say, Hegseth. I like seeing him out. He's got a presence to him that I appreciate.
Oh, I see.
Been lacking.
So he was throwing around the football with Navy sailors at an event the other day. I thought that was awesome. He's just kind of like just being a guy around them. And the thing that he's doing with doing PT with various Army and Marine units and things like that, I mean, that is worth its weight in gold when it comes to how he's interacting with the lower enlisted. JD Vance, saying it's about time we had somebody from the E4 Mafia, in the administration, making the generals listen to. And the new thing that Hegseth did the other day with the standards for combat arms.
Yeah.
I mean, this should be absolute no-brainer kind of stuff.
And military times getting caught out.
What's the issue with Hegseth's tattoo? So he's got a tattoo that
we need to talk more about Hegseth's tattoo because it's this.
I agree.
I hate doing this.
Oh yeah, but that's not the one everybody's mad about this time, Joe. Everybody's mad about the.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I'm better at it. Sorry.
Everybody's mad about the one on his right,
like
inner arm.
Infidel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many fucking infidel tattoos I saw, especially in the 2000s. I mean, it was like literally every third soldier.
Whether it's a tattoo or someone has it as a dust cover on the rifle,
or a T-shirt or a hat. I mean, it's all right. That's they're practicing for war around Taiwan, but they're actually conducting war right now, and it's against the United States. China's role in the U.S. fentanyl crisis directed by regime leadership, expert says. Tensions have been simmering between the United States and Communist China.
No, I don't mean to interrupt the show. It's just I did have.
Yeah.
I had something that I was trying to find, and I finally found it, and then we moved on slightly too fast.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, it's just we were talking about the presents that these gentlemen are bringing, and I do have to say that even though I love JD and I love the presents he's bringing, I'm sorry, but this shit's fucking hilarious.
Make but you know what? He would laugh his ass off at that.
Yes. Oh man.
Make a wish. But still, that's what the soldiers in the Marines out there want to see. That.
Yep. Agreed. Sorry. Let's get back into
chat, and it's all Hunch's fault. So.
Oh wow. Look at that.
What's this? What?
We were discussing Bucky's sausage, and Hunch turned it into something, and it's just gotten out of control from there.
Yeah. Wow.
You guys are so gross. I swear.
But yeah, getting into actual important topics though. Chinese fentanyl.
Yes. So in early March, the Chinese embassy in Washington shared a social media post from its foreign ministry repeating its message: if war is what the U.S. wants, it will be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we're ready to fight till the end. Donald Trump has warned that while the United States does not seek war with China, it is very well equipped to handle it. Trump has imposed an additional 20% tariff on all goods made in China, citing a national emergency on the continued trafficking of fentanyl, a deadly opioid that 50 or 100 times more potent than morphine in the United States. To this day, China remains the primary source of fentanyl precursors, which are shipped to Mexico, where they are manufactured into the illicit drug. It is then smuggled into the United States, mainly via the southern border. In response to Trump's added tariff, Beijing imposed an additional 15% tariff on U.S. coal and natural gas, and an extra 10% on agricultural equipment and pickup truck. Wow. You mean?
So here's what's funny about that, right? If you look at those things, coal, natural gas, agricultural equipment, and pickup trucks, how many of those do you think get sold in China?
Not many.
None. I mean, almost none. There are probably a few, but not many. The majority of agricultural equipment in China comes from India. Mahindra is a massive international maker of that. So it looks great on paper, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's just like us issuing sanctions against Venezuelan and Iranian oil, and then every week we issue ourselves licenses to violate our own sanctions. They're all things just on paper. No
the pickup trucks in particular is a thing that, like, do you know who's a major exporter of American pickup trucks? Fucking nobody.
Right.
I mean, the irony is the American pickup truck has evolved in the American market, a place where it's
American
completely unique.
That's literally it. Yeah.
And Mexico.
Oh yeah, I suppose that's true.
All right. Let's see. Going back to the fentanyl story. Yuan Hongbing, a former law professor at Peking University in China, now lives in Australia, said the American opioid epidemic is far from the self-inflicted wound the CCP has suggested it is. The Chinese regime has played a significant role in America's fentanyl crisis, and blaming the United States for it has long been Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping's strategy. Yuan told NTD, Epoch Times sister media outlet, in a recent episode that the Chinese language program Pinnacle View, Yuan, who has insider access to senior CCP leaders, said Xi has consistently given internal directives during both Trump's first and second terms that Beijing must maintain the narrative that the drug crisis in both Europe and the United States are not linked to China. The irony is, Joe, is that despite our lack of penetration in with our intelligence services in China, it's pretty damn easy to map the flows of all this stuff coming directly from China. I mean, it's not like they're like hiding things. It's coming from China to Mexico. It's not like it's getting bounced around Africa and then shipped from Africa to Mexico. There's no laundering of all these precursors. It's
going directly from a Hutchinson port to a Hutchinson port and then here.
Right. Yuan said the regime has been directed by Xi to assert that China makes the chemical precursors legally, and that if they are converted to deadly drugs and smuggled into the United States or Europe, it is not China's responsibility. China expert further stated that fentanyl is at the core of Xi's bid to take revenge on the West. He said Xi blames the West for subjugating China to a century of humiliation as a result of the opium wars of the mid-19th century. I love it, Joe. We're literally, not only do the Chinese look ahead, but man, they hold grudges for 150 years.
They do. Oh, look, there's the Instagram secretary again.
Well, at least she's looking at the Heisenberg's blue meth. Actually, I guess that's supposed to be fentanyl,
wearing blue jeans. Cool.
I don't know. I have a hard time.
I have a hard time taking her seriously because of this issue. So,
yeah. I'm all about results. If she can dress however she wants and do anything she wants on Instagram, as long as she gives us results. If she doesn't give us results, it doesn't fucking matter. Yuan said
they've got till June, and then I start bitching in earnest.
Let's see. It is precisely due to Xi's directives that we are now seeing a dramatic increase of both production of fentanyl precursors in China and the export of those chemicals, fueling the ongoing fentanyl crisis in the United States. Fentanyl overdose deaths become a national crisis, taking 200 American lives per day, with about 75,000 Americans died. A staggering that's in 2023. That's a 10 times a 23-fold increase from 10 years ago. Joe, I mean, what are the practical steps that we can take? I think we're already kind of on the track with this whole cartels or terrorist organizations, which will allow us to kind of go after them on their home turf. But I don't see any Reaper drones blowing up SUVs in the middle of Sonora.
Right.
Because if that stuff started happening, we'd see it all over the news.
Yeah. Can I want to address something really quick. I'm going to share a screen for a second, Washer, if you could put it up. Just because someone said that they don't believe us. If you want to put that on the screen real quick, a half-second Google one just brought this right on up. So the flag of the Republic of China, commonly called the flag of Taiwan, consists of a red field with blue canton and a white disc. So there it is. We are correct. That is the flag of the Republic of China.
Yeah, 1929 is the origin of that flag. See the bars. If you go, Joe, if you scroll to the side there, you'll see the previous flag.
Yeah, the previous flag. That represented the warring states faction and all the different armies that were out there, right? Red, the yellow. I mean, those were all the different warlords who were fighting. Then they all united under one flag. So,
right.
If there's one thing I'm good on, it's sexology. So, it's just I know my flags.
You know your. Would you have been a guest on Sheldon Cooper's Flag podcast?
You know, I'm going to do a podcast like Sheldon Cooper did on on The Big Bang Theory, where he did this whole YouTube show on flags. That could be me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You could have been a guest on his show.
I could have been the host. I could have showed him a thing or two.
All right. The U.S. makes the perfect enemy for the Chinese regime. Over the past decade, China saw significant economic growth. Its nominal GDP is now over 3/4 of that of the U.S., according to data from the World Bank. When measured from purchasing power, China's economy surpassed that of the United States in 2016. Xi rose in CCP ranks a few years before that, and in 2013 took over its leadership. According to Yuan, Xi's communist nature drove him to immediately cash in on China's economic strength to establish a foreign policy program, the Belt and Road Initiative. And that's what has brought us fentanyl, the lovely fentanyl. We've caught up on our X views, so welcome to the folks from X. All right, let's move on, shall we?
Concepts. You would watch that show and you know it. Just stop.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Karen, you have to forgive Joe. He gets a little feisty when it comes to flags. All right, next story. U.S. cyber expert Wang Xiaofeng took Singapore job before FBI raids. University letter. University staff protest decision to summarily terminate Wang. Silence fuels suspicion and distrust and makes shared governance harder. Joe, was it you that brought us this story?
Yes. So
you want to talk about
this is pretty interesting. So this guy is a cybersecurity expert and consultant and researcher who is used by companies all over America to design cybersecurity. I have been warning for about the last 15 years in my career as a security consultant, never, ever, ever, ever in a million years use a Chinese cybersecurity consultant, because they are most likely a Chinese spy working for the MSS. Lo and behold, this guy gets raided by the FBI. The FBI hasn't said why, but this guy has disappeared and apparently taken a job in Singapore, which we all know is a hub of Chinese intelligence gathering. And he has vanished. The university has fired him, and no one has said why. We all know why. We all know it's probably because he's a Chinese spy and he was facilitating hacking and the Chinese getting into all kinds of corporate computer systems. But this is just an interesting story. He has apparently just vanished off the face of the earth and did not reappear in Singapore. He'll probably reappear in Beijing, if we're being honest. But
right.
Yet another Chinese spy. What's important to note is that when China catches a U.S. spy, they kill them. We don't do that here, which is why there are still a ton of Chinese spies here. I would posit that if we killed a few of them, which is legal under the Espionage Act, if we put them up for execution, they'd probably stop.
Well, I don't know that they would stop. They may just kind of keep feeding, because they're like, we got a lot more spies to feed into the machine than what you're going to catch. So, I'm in the unenviable position of taking people who, I always say I judge people as individuals. But in the unique case of the CCP, as an individual, I always look at you potentially as, what is your CCP exposure? First and foremost, right? And ultimately, Joe, you're right. I think there are certain jobs that if you're a CCP citizen, you just you could never hold that job. You can't do it. It's right. Too sensitive. And I think there are certain research jobs and things like that are purely academic, not defense related or whatever, or even security related. that it still shouldn't be allowed to be held by Chinese nationals. I mean, there's too many stories of guys come over and doing basic research in American university and then taking all of that data, especially when it's data that's, dual use technology or technology within, directly applied to defense contractors and things like that. It's a sad world we live, but that's the world we live in. Joe, I don't know if you've been following. It's been getting spicy again around the Philippines.
Of course they are. They always are. But this latest thing is taking an additional step. There are people warning against travel to the Philippines because of it. So that's interesting.
Oh, and here I was thinking you guys were just talking about the regular insanity of the Philippines near Easter.
Yeah. Let's see here. This first one, we got another incident where they're shooting high-powered water cannons at the Philippine patrol boats. China says the activities inside the Philippines EEZ are legal and part of law enforcement patrols. Don't get fooled by China's words. Attacking a small Filipino civilian boats sailing within PH territory can't be law enforcement activity. I don't think this is a civilian boat. It may be, but I don't think it is. China's gray zone of and are of part of illegal, coercive, aggressive deception. I don't know that I need to read this. This is more pro-Philippine, anti-China propaganda, even though I agree with it. I don't need to read it. But yeah, so this is part of some recent stuff we've been seeing in the last week. I think the next tweet is, this next one is a little more authoritative. So this is Jay Terriella, and he is the, what does he do? He is the Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson on the West Philippine Sea concerns, so i.e. the South China Sea. So this is really interesting. Now, if you look at this island, this is one of these islands that we're gonna, only have fishermen shelters on, right? Before China can mislead the international community by claiming that the Philippines is provoking them and escalating tension with the West Philippine Sea, it's important to highlight some key facts. First, China occupied Panguilin Bay Reef in 1995, claiming it would serve only as a fisherman's shelter, even though it is situated within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Nearly 2 decades later, they transformed the shelter into a heavily fortified military base, complete with defense capabilities, a naval base, and an airfield. Second, they reclaimed Zamora Reef, which was initially a submerged feature, and developed it into a significant artificial island equipped with 3,000-meter runway and military infrastructure. This island is positioned near the edge of the Philippines EEZ, and its proximity to the Pag-asa Island, which is occupied by the Philippines, places it within the 12 nautical mile territorial sea generated by Pang-asa Island maritime entitlements. So the question arises, who is truly escalating the tension in the West Philippine Sea? We must also consider ongoing deployment of maritime forces in the area and the aggressive harassment of ordinary fishermen and their bullying tactics. Joe, I mean, this is, we see the Chinese being aggressive with their boats, but I think people would need to be reminded, like, they have literally made new Chinese islands in the middle of the ocean.
And let's be honest, look at that island. It serves only one purpose.
Oh, it's a military base. 100%.
It is a military base, and that's all it intends to be. Look at those radar domes facing where? The south. Or west, wherever this island is. It's facing the opponents, right? It's not facing back towards China. It's not for aviation safety. It's for early warning, and those are barracks buildings over there. This is an ELINT / airbase facility, and they've set them up all over. Dangerous Dangerous situation.
By the way, Joe, I totally co-sign on this. Best way to show your support for Pete Hegseth is to buy a Tactical Wisdom patch or shirt.
Absolutely, 100%. Great idea.
Yeah, just look at these facilities, man. I mean, like, yeah, say what you will about the Chinese, man. They know how to build a fake island.
You know, the thing that I've weirdly always been kind of fascinated by is that they haul in soil to be able to plant trees and stuff. It's interesting. And grass.
Well, in fairness, they're probably planting a lot of things that will grow in that kind of coral sand. You know, you're right. They do have to put a certain amount of topsoil in there, but I mean, this is just impressive.
Yeah.
So if you think
Pensacola back in the
say
day.
again, say again.
Reminds me of NAS Pensacola back in the day, honestly.
You know, if
you look at how China houses troops, they don't do it like we do. There is room there for thousands of personnel on that base, right? Because they sleep them in squad base. We only do that in boot camp, right? Or in training schools. In general, we have two people, you know, one to a room, sharing a bathroom, what like college dorms. They don't. They have them just in squad base. There is room there for an awful lot of people for force projection. And I would ask why there's a hospital ship there. Interesting.
It's almost like Mark Sibley knew what he was talking about.
Right?
All right. This gets a little repetitive after a while, but it's very interesting, I think. So definitely check it out.
Understand, too, that the helicopter that took this video, it did so at the consent of the Chinese. If the Chinese wanted a helicopter gone, it would not have gotten this video. China allowed this video to be made as a threat, right? They want you to be a little bit concerned. They wanted this video to get out.
All right. There's another tweet from Mr. Terrella. Philippine Coast Guard is continuously monitoring the passage of Chinese research vessel Songhang as to ensure that it transits the Philippine archipelago waters continuously and expeditiously without loiter or incident. Radio challenges are also being made to the vessel to inquire its intentions and destinations. The PCG will continue to exercise Philippine sovereign control over archipelago waters and conduct law enforcement actions whenever appropriate or to take countermeasures against the vessel found violating Philippine sovereignty and jurisdiction. And so this is not just chilling out in the South China Sea. If you look at the map, it's like going in and amongst the Philippines islands. I mean, it's like
that's actually in the Celebes Sea. That's not in the South China. That's getting down there between them, and that's actually coming up upon Singapore and all those other areas. They're really building them all over, and there's a diplomatic dispute right now between them and India because they're starting to build some in the Indian Ocean, and India is like, this is a bridge too far. So
watch out, or we'll send guys with axe handles to take care of your construction workers. All right. Anything else, guys? China's rearing their ugly head again. You know, we hadn't talked a whole lot about China in the last couple months, but it's definitely worth dipping our toe in the Chinese things.
Even their bases are feng shui. That's good. The one thing I didn't see on that base was hardened shelters. Those hangars look pretty standard, but I think they feel that they'll be able to defeat the air threat from further out. So I don't know.
Yeah. I am not an air expert, so I will keep my mouth shut on those issues.
Or they've decided that in the age of modern munitions, hardened shelters just contain the blast to do even more damage to the plane that was inside of it. So
fair. All right, Joe. Final thoughts for today.
I would continue to watch the buildup in Diego Garcia. It's not cheap to do this, and we don't like to park strategic assets in an area in which they can be targeted by Russia or China, and that's exactly what we're doing. So there has to be a purpose beyond a show of force. We don't just move those around and leave them there. We generally launch B-2 strikes from the U.S., right? They just make the long flight. B-2 and B-52 strikes generally are launched from Mountain Home or Whiteman or one of the other bases that they're at, and go all the way around and all the way back, all in one hop. Staging them there at Diego Garcia is a message. We just have to know to whom and for what. So I'd keep an eye on that.
All right, good point. Watcher.
No, just keep your eyes out. Everybody's spoiling for a fight at the moment. It's not just China, though. We've got people looking to kick things off in the Middle East. Be a preemptive. I was just reading something yesterday that was saying that Iran was potentially planning preemptive strikes against us, believing that we were getting ready to strike them.
Well, I hate to say it, but that just shows you how stupid they'd be if they actually preemptively hit. Like if they went after our American forces, say in Iraq or something like that, or Kuwait or, just that general neighborhood. If they went after us first, that would be so stupid, because then that would give us a reason to retaliate against them in whatever way we deem fit. So. Yeah.
Again, we're applying Western thinking to Eastern peoples.
I'm applying Western thinking to Western responses, is what I'm thinking.
I get that.
For me, guys, I've got a prediction. I think this is a pretty spicy one, and I think it has a chance of being accurate. The San Diego Padres are 5-0 coming out of the season opener. This is the first time the Padres have ever had a 5-0 start to a season. I think they're going to get to 6-0 in the next game. So
you're literally the only person who cares.
Well, me and about 1,000 other people on X. That's and a lot of people would say they had over 40,000 people at their home opener in San Diego. So I'm telling you, man, this is going to be a good year to be a Padres fan. Last year was a great year to be a Padres fan because I got to go to the season opener. But this year's
because it was in Korea.
Yeah, because it was in Korea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the Dodgers and San Diego. They were 1-1, so they both. It was a 2-game series. They call it the Seoul series, and it was both teams won one game. So, and I was there for the game the Padres won. So it was just a crushing game. So, all right. So, like I said, the Padres are winning. So you'll see me liking and retweeting Padres baseball content if you're interested. If not, that's cool. It's kind of an interesting picture, like Elon's gotten pretty decent access to all forms of government stuff. I thought this was a funny picture. I don't know if you saw this, Joe. Elon and the CIA director right there in the main lobby.
Okay.
I guess does this mean Doge has arrived at the CIA? All right, we could get rid of 80% of these guys. I would be thumbs up with that. You know what would be great is if Doge got rid of everybody except for the crusty old fucks like Ron, who
Yeah. if there ever was an agency that needed a little Doge work, that's it.
Oh man, they don't need a Doge work. They need a fucking Roto-Rooter. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Thank you for being here. Joe, Watcher, thank you for your time. Chat, you were awesome as always. I'm glad we were able to help each other out, level some bubbles. If you haven't done already, please subscribe to the channel, both on Rumble and on YouTube. If we're also live on X, as you can see, so that's another great way to watch us. If you haven't done it, please like the video today and share it with a friend. Let them know you're getting some good stuff here on the Council for Future Conflict. Gentlemen, as always, stay safe.